The new 2026 rules for Formula One racing haven't made the drivers happy so far, and the newest person to complain is Lance Stroll. Even though the Canadian driver isn't the most popular one on the racetrack, the things he's saying actually make sense. And now, he's joining a group with Max Verstappen and other drivers who don't like the 2026 cars. But some team bosses think that the FIA, the people who make the rules, are doing the right thing with the new rules. So are the drivers stuck in the middle? And can they actually change anything to make the fans enjoy the sport too? There's no question that the 2026 rules are going to cause some big arguments in the Formula One world. And the newest driver to say something shocking is Lance Stroll. Yep, the Aston Martin driver has been criticized a lot for how he races in Formula One because his dad owns part of Aston Martin. But this time, I think many of the fans are going to agree with what he says. According to Lance, the 2026 rules are nothing but a science experiment, and the FIA is trying to come up with something that just doesn't make any real sense at all. Talking more about this and putting even more pressure on the rule makers to change something, even though it's probably too late for that. Lance said, "We'll get some idea during testing and then in Australia. But the rules, I think, are pretty sad. I've driven it on the computer simulator, and that's why I'm sad about it. It's too bad that in Formula One, we're talking about using electric power, and we've had to take away all the downforce to help the battery power. It would just be fun to see some light, quick, fast cars with lots of downforce, and just make the whole thing a little simpler. So, less of a battery-powered science experiment, and more of a real Formula One racing championship. Let's not forget what the new rules are really about. Making cars more electric. The engine is going to be the most important part of the 2026 rule changes, and the battery power is going to go up from 120 to 350 kilowatt-hours, or 470 horsepower, which is what worries the drivers the most. This would automatically mean that they're going to depend a lot more on the electric part of the car than the regular engine. So there's a situation where the driver could lose all power at the end of the straight road when he needs it the most for passing other cars. People are also worried about how fast the cars will be. There are some experts out there who think that the 2026 cars are going to be 2 to 3 seconds slower than what we have right now. Of course, we don't want the drivers to get hurt, but at the end of the day, if you're making the car slower, then what exactly are you trying to do here? Narrower cars are definitely the right way to go, because you'll make it easier to pass other cars. But with DRS not being a thing anymore and active wings making a comeback, it will still be a big question about how the teams are going to figure out their way through the whole thing. Drivers will also charge up their battery power when they brake, and then they could use it on the straight roads, as I said, with the big risk that they're going to lose it in the most important moment when they should try to pass another car at the end of that section. But the active wings are going to make passing other cars a lot more interesting. There will be two settings, X and Z. The X setting will be for less air resistance on the straight roads, while the Z setting will be for more downforce on the turns. Yes, this is something that the drivers have asked for from the current cars. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of things we don't know, and question marks about what's going on with the rules in general. And this is why complaints haven't stopped from drivers like Lance Stroll. As the Canadian went on to say, "I don't love the idea of the new rules, and I think a lot of drivers can agree with that, and I don't think some of them can talk about it for political reasons. It's exciting to think about cars that can make more noise, be lighter, and not just depend or focus so much on batteries or the engine. That's not very racy." These comments from Stroll might have been laughed at if they only came from him. Let's not forget about Charles as well. The Monaco driver is part of the team that's now expected to be up front with Mercedes and possibly Honda when it comes to engine power. But at the end of the day, the rest of the rules are not something that Charles enjoys a lot. Adding more to this, Charles said, "Let's say it's not the most fun race car driven so far, but we're still at a point where the project is pretty new. I'm hoping that it will change quite a bit in the next few months, but it's no secret that I think the rules for next year are going to make it a lot less fun for drivers to drive. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of it right now, but that's just how it is. And at the end of the day, I think there is a challenge, and I would like the challenge of getting the most out of a very different car from what it is right now. But do I enjoy it? Probably not. We do know for sure that Verstappen likes to disagree with almost everything that comes as something new from both the FIA and F1, including the new technical rules. Now, we can remember the comments from Christian Horner, the former team boss of Red Bull, who said that the cars look like a Frankenstein experiment and that the teams will have a really hard time getting used to it. Obviously, Max thinks that the new stuff for 2026 is not really needed, and if they want to make changes, they should focus on something from the very early 2000s, just like Lance Stroll said. But interestingly enough, he's gotten criticism from Toto Wolff, the Austrian who wants to bring the four-time world champion to his team soon if he gets the chance. Toto strongly believes that the FIA are moving in the right direction when it comes to the new rules and the new things in this sport. Talking more about this, he said, "Some cars have been really fun for the drivers to drive. Some tires have been fun, others not. So in a way, everybody will get used to it." Looking at computer tests today, it's very hard to know exactly how it's going to be next year. It's a super challenging new rule set trying to make those energy levels last throughout the whole lap on some of the racetracks. Clearly, right now, it's still challenging, but the speed of new ideas is huge, and it's always been like that in Formula One. I believe that we're on the right path. There have been warnings that Max Verstappen got from F1 experts like Tom Coronel that 2026 would be cancelled if he stays with Red Bull because of the wind tunnel problems. Not only that, but there are growing worries that the partnership with Ford is not going to work out like they planned. And at the end of the day, we're looking at a very real possibility for Red Bull to be kicked off the grid. Just one more reason why Verstappen would leave the Austrian team and join a team who understood the new rule era a bit better. Let's not forget that these concerns haven't gone unnoticed by the FIA. The controversial president Ben Sulayem stated loud and clear that there will be work behind closed doors to make sure that everyone on the grid will be happy. Yes, the grid is the most important thing in the sport, and if the teams and drivers are happy with the challenges, it's just a good sign to grow even more, and that's one of the main reasons why we would be seeing the return of the V8 engines by 2029. Talking more about this, Ben Sulayem said, "The current engine is so complicated, you have no idea, and it's expensive. Research and development is reaching $200 million, and the engine costs about $1.8 to $2.1 million. So if we go with the straight V8, let's see. Many of the car makers produce V8s in their cars, so business-wise, it makes sense. To us, the V8 is happening with the teams. Now, very hopeful and happy about it. Formula One management are supportive. The teams are understanding it the right way. Nevertheless, we must not forget one thing. The drivers aren't happy with the direction that F1 is moving in with the new rules. Yes, they were the main reasons why teams like Audi have joined the sport in the first place. But what's more important is that the spirit of F1 needs to stay the same. And what's also very important is that the cost of other parts of bringing back the V8 needs to be thought about as well, such as the gearboxes and the fuel. It's up to the FIA to answer to the challenge that's been thrown by F1 drivers such as Stroll, Verstappen, and Charles. But as of now, it doesn't really look like these racers are going to see their wishes come true. With all of this in mind, what do you think of all the complaints that the new rule era got before it's even started? And more importantly, where do you see drivers like Verstappen ending up if something doesn't go their way? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's showing on your screen right now.